What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Backtrack Cinema. My name is Jason, and we are doing a Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood movie review and discussion. As you guys know, I've been going through Fridays, done the last 6 now. Now we're on to number 7. And, we got a lot to talk about. And I got my guest here, Peter Anthony, who's a writer, director, actor who did Roseblood, I guess unofficial sequel, as we say, Peter, to The New Blood. And all that jazz. And we're going to have a good discussion here. And, we had the recent passing of Lar Park Lincoln, dying way too young. And, she left her mark on this franchise, on a career. And just to what I've understand, I never met her, but a lovely person. And yeah, so this could be a fun discussion, Peter. And thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, man. What an honor. Yeah, as you know, I love the film, got the t-shirt on, made my fan film after it, worked with everyone on them. So I'm so glad you brought me on, because it's a, even though it's not one of the better films, it's one I love watching, over and over.
I have a strange relationship with this movie. For one, it's the only Friday movie that scared the hell out of me. And it was Easter. I watched it on Easter. I don't know if that's one that come out, but I remember watching it on Easter.
Came out in May.
Yeah, so I must have seen it the following year then. Because I watched it on Easter, and I was the guy, Bill Butler, going through the woods with Kane Hodder chasing me.
Yeah.
He gets the spike in the back.
Yeah.
That was my nightmare. Repeat all night, running from Jason. So I think it's the design. I think it was a bit of Kane that in the darkness of the film that really is the only one that ever scared me, and I was just waking up in sweats and everything. And then years later. I did love this one as a kid a lot more. Years later, I have a weird like sometimes I love watching it. Other times I'm bored as hell watching it. And it just doesn't do much for me. It's strange. This watch, I don't know if it's because of Lara's passing or what, but I had a good time with this one. So, and I think personally the reason is whenever Terry Kisser and Lara are on screen together, it's just I love that story. I love watching that. Seeing that unfold. And we go to the kids set up for cannon fodder. I just find I don't want to be here. Let's take us back to this drama and tension and the performance she's doing. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like my quick, my personal experience with the movie and all that. But what about you?
Terry Kaiser, when him and Lara are on screen, are great. The back and forth. I think so. The good and bad. The bad is it gets slow and boring in those middle parts, and you really don't care too much about those other characters. You care about Tina, Dr. Cruz, Jason, and Nick a little. Everyone else is just dressing, So I think the movie slows down a lot at those points, and obviously the kills. I mean, I know we'll get into that probably. I think that's a big thing because you're building up for these payoffs that don't really happen. So it's just kind of always in that middle grade. But that last 15 minutes, man, I tell everybody, I used to go to the store and rent that movie. My mother back again. I'm like, yeah, over and over. And after a while, when you saw it, I just went to did it last night. Fell asleep with my phone. I have this holder that's next to me on the bed. And the last 15 minutes you watch, there is no better in Friday the 13th than those last 15 minutes. His costume, his stunt work, his breathing, her kicking his ass. You could take all the other people kicking Jason's ass together and do a montage, it wouldn't be the same as what she did to him. And those stunts by Kane, falling through the stairs, jumping through the French window, having the roof fall on him, being electrocuted, being hung, having his mask snap, having nails hit him, catching on fire. I mean, dude, it was unbelievable. And you got to imagine, Lar has to match the master of acting with no words with the same thing, because she doesn't say anything during that 15 minutes. It's all emotion with her faces, and you're feeling if she's scared or empowered or not. And you can't touch that last 15 minutes at all. It was just, and then the mask reveal and what he looked like underneath. Nobody's come close to that since then.
Yeah, it's the high point for sure.
Yeah,
for me, other than the performance of Lard, Terry Kisser, and all the other characters going on, and the story. I really find this one. It actually, maybe for the first time, I'm huge Jason Liz fans. Everyone knows that's my favorite, and the part I like about that is that there's a ticking time bomb going on, because holy fuck, he's coming back to the camp. What's going to happen when he gets there? There's kids there and everything. So he's coming back, and that's a part of that story I like. But here, we have a story. If Jason wasn't even in it, you have an interesting story still.
Right.
You have something going on here, and with Tina having all this freaking guilt, not being able to control whatever this is, this a clone of Carrie, if you will, but with a nicer mom.
Yeah.
And
And Kaiser trying to use her. Kaiser trying to use her.
Yeah, he's. I could
Yeah.
still hear my mom's voice when I watched this. This guy's a fucking scumbag. Like, what a snake and everything like that. But it's so intense, and I love the story. I like how they take this story. And I was just watching the documentary today that John Carl Beekler would have liked to done a volume 2, and it sounded a lot like what your movie kind of how you did your movie similar. He said he wanted to do something like it would be in a hospital, and Jason would go after like the nurses and the doctors. He goes, how much fun could we have with that? And Tina would have been blamed for all the murders, and like that. I'll go, holy shit, that's interesting.
That's kind of what Roseblood is. If you look at the end when Jenkins says, "Oh, all these people die all around you, and supposedly it's some monster that no one ever sees." So, I agree with that 100%. Where else would you go? Like in my mind, she was going to the psychiatric hospital, but when the military gets there and sees shit and reads Dr. Cruz's notes and sees her power, I think they wanted to grab her. That's how it was in my mind.
Yeah, and also like oh man, like that would have been so interesting. And it's called The New Blood. Like, so it's kind of like, okay, we're done with we ended Jarvis's trilogy, right? And it's kind of like, okay, new characters, but then we this thing gets cut off and we go to Manhattan. But I'm like, man, this could have continued almost like its own trilogy, like done a 7, 8, and 9 with this.
I agree,
and it would have been interesting.
Lar said when I gave her the script, she said it was the best script for her character for a part 8 she ever read, which is amazing, right? So because she told me, I said, well, didn't you get other offers and what was going on? She said, we got 2 other ones that were, she said the part 8, she like the way it was, she got asked to be in that, which was terrible. She said no. Then there was another one she didn't like. And then there was, oh man, now I'm going to forget. There was one, but they wouldn't let her read the script. So then she said in Hollywood, when they don't let you read the script, they're going to kill you off. And she didn't want that character to ever be killed off. And that's the first thing when we did Roseblood. She's like, are you killing me off? I said, no. You're not getting killed off. You're the hero at the end 30 years later,
Yeah, well, she's so unique. And, as much as I know this is not, when I rank this movie, it's not usually in my top 6 or maybe 7, but I'll get there on my ranking, everyone. But I love Lara as a final girl. I love the performance. I think she's one of the better characters in the whole Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah.
And it's that I'd like to dive into her performance a bit. And I just like how she's always on the brink of crying and anger and sadness. And the way John Carl Beekler pulled this out of her, it is amazing. I love that scene where she finds the clippings of Jason, right? And she starts freaking out and he's focusing on her eyes and she's going like this and Kevin Blair's trying to calm her down. I love that scene. She's just great in that. Or when she makes the TV fly against Dr. Cruz, anything where she gets emotional, right? It's I love her in this. She has a sensitivity, a warmth, but there's a darkness, viciousness that can be brought out. And I love this character of Tina, and with the guilt and everything. And unfortunately, they neutered his movies so much that the scene where the father comes up at the end, and then that was supposed to be like it's okay, honey.
Yeah,
it's okay. You don't have to feel guilty. It was all his, and they cut the fucking thing.
And they made him look like they just put dirt on him instead of like the zombie. You saw the zombie version of him?
Yeah. I've seen all the raw footage, and I'm like, but that was that was what everything was earned.
Yeah.
Now, when you watch it, it's not really earned that last moment. It's anticlimactical, as John Carl Beekler says.
And you're left confused instead of like everything built up to something.
Yeah.
And then back to, that's funny you say Kevin Blair, because that was his name then. And now it's Spiritus. He changed it at some point. I never really asked him why. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I did not know that. But thinking that when I watched
Roseblood,
you're right. Yeah, you have it. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
but yeah.
So, but back to Lara, phenomenal job. But like you said, like if you look at her, the times when she's holding her elbows and she's looking around and she's selling all the emotions with very few words. I agree. And it's like people don't understand as an actor, you come to say, how's it going? Good morning. Okay. And you got to cry, 3, 2, 1, go. And then, okay, we don't like that take. Wipe you off, redo your makeup again. It is exhausting.
I can imagine. I remember Gina Davis saying they made me cry so much at the end of The Fly when she has to shoot Jeff Goldblum. She goes, that's a day of crying, just exhaust. Right. And like the way she sells that too, right, is so good. And what she did here, it's what I will say, it's probably the most emotional performance.
Oh, for sure. It's like Shelley Winters in The Shining. You know, she was just really a lunatic at that point, and it sold.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, Lara doesn't get enough credit for how great, I agree, she was in those scenes, because she is leading those scenes with her emotions. Again, go look at her script. She doesn't say a lot through the whole movie. It's just her words. It's just her eyes and her holding her in scaredness and looking around, the close-up of her eyes, where her eyes going sideways. It sells everything.
Yeah, she doesn't have a whole lot. I know there was between her and Kevin, there's a whole scene where he's chasing her through the woods. She's like, leave me the fuck alone. There's like a little, that was all cut too. And I'm not sure if that was needed, that whole scene. But yeah, it's she's really good in this. And obviously, is it Kaiser? Kaiser. Weekend at Bernie's dude. he's great in this, and he's intense, and he sells the scumbag to a T, man. Like
that's the thing. People are like, oh, you're such a dick in that film. Like, oh, he did a good job then. If you hate him, you know what I'm saying? And then the one in the woods, I wanted to get your opinion on this. He takes her mother and puts the mother in front, remember?
Yeah.
And Jason hits him with the sickle
it's
saw.
like
Sickle
it's a weird hockey blade
yeah.
thing.
So and everyone's like, oh, he's such a dick, whatever. I'm like, yeah, don't get me wrong, he's a dick, but they both weren't going to live. I mean, once you're in the woods with Jason, you're both there. You're both pretty much dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he panicked. Said, "Fuck, you know what? It's you before me."
yeah. And then the him being cut. There's some footage of him with the weed eater cutting him a little bit. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I just watched it this morning. I watched the documentaries and all the raw footage, which I have seen before. Yeah. But I'm like, you guys, you can't get this footage back. This shit was destroyed, or it was, and you can't. You just can't. It's so unfortunate, man, because I would have loved to see a cut with all this stuff in it.
If they did a
how he would edit it.
So if they would have done like a Scream Factory, another set or whatever, and it would have came out and said, hey, this 7 is all the kills and remastered in 2025 and redone. Oh my God. I mean, who wouldn't put that in first? You know?
Right. And especially like, well, let's just we'll talk the kills. You know what I mean? Like every kill was neutered in this. Every single one. Now, mind you, I think I do like the sleeping bag kill when he just does it once, to be honest with you. Because I think it's more impactful. It's more effective. But that Ben, when he squishes that fucking guy's head down, that was neutered like you wouldn't believe. He like the blood coming out of the eyes, the little head they made, and he's vicious. He's kind of like this. He's fucking pushing him down like there's a rage.
Who didn't see the behind the scenes? I said, dude, it looks like a fucking accordion. Like he's just crushing his fucking head, you know, which is so crazy because if you look at ones before that, it was way worse. Part 4, Jason falling on the machete alone, you know, and then
that's what I think they were cracking down at this point.
They started to crack down.
For sure.
That's when they started to crack down on rap and parental advisory on the labels. Remember, like all that was that same time.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I like the direction of the kills. Like when he just takes that axe to that guy on the beach there, and just goes like that, and you're supposed to see blood shoot up. I like the direction, like I like what he was doing with all the kills, but it was like, wow, he cut like he didn't. They were neutered like completely, like PG movie if it wasn't for all the titties.
They took the art out of it. But even then, I love the aggressiveness that he has. Kane, and by the way, Kane is so aggressive in that. My favorite look by far, Part 7. Some people can argue better Jason, better this, but look wise, man, that's tough for me to beat.
No, Jason for me. I like Ted White because of just how simple it is.
Yep.
He is my favorite Jason, Ted White. I just like the swiftness and the viciousness of what he was going for. But Kane, for me, like in this, the design is the best,
Yes.
and I appreciate that that he took so much care for the character. He played him so many times, but I like him the best in this. This is his best performance, I think, out of
And
by
he's
all of them.
aggressive. And that axe kill to the girl that is unbelievable. I mean, just the axe to her head alone is enough. And then he picks her up and launches her over the TV like a rag. You know, after she was mouthing off, that was perfect.
Yeah, like I really like him. Like I don't know where I'd rank him. You know, in the I'd have to do a ranking of Jasons and everything like that. But I do like Kane. There's a walk to him. There's a certain intimidating walk he's doing, and there's a certain rage inside him all the time, which I really like. And being in that suit all day, I think that's what brought that out. He was just annoyed, and he was like, you know, he'd be tired, and he just, you know, one of those things, right, where that rage comes out to you naturally. And I think it really works here. And you know, I do like him. A lot of people are not big on, you know, the breathing and everything like that, but he was like, I think I read that he was like, or watched on the documentary, he was tired a lot from lifting things, and that breathing came out because of how angry he was getting, like how annoyed
he said. You hear that people don't like the breathing in that?
Some people, some, not all people.
Because most people love it. I love it. So he in the interviews where he talks about it, he says that, how do I express that I'm pissed off and ready to jump down your throat in any second? Well, breathing. He's like, and he's the first to breathe, the first to do the walk, and the first to do the head first, then the body follow. So between all those three, I mean, he really took that character and made him his own. Because, like, yeah, I love Ted White too. Part 4 is my favorite film, but 4 is so different than 6, and 6 is so different than 7. They all played it a different way, which I love. You know?
I like that too. Like they all brought something different.
Yeah,
and I like maybe because I'm a massive Terminator fan. CJ Graham's Terminator walk is brilliant. Like that guy would play an awesome Terminator.
Chest out, shoulders up. Every time you move, everything's connected. He was showing Brooks that when we were on set, like how he did it.
Yep. And but with Kane, I love the walk. I like the viciousness. I don't mind the breathing, and I love that snap look he does, like the head.
Yeah.
I think that is something. When you watch Derek Mears' performance, there's points in that movie where he got that from Kane. He's trying to do a Kane there, right? Like where he's got the girl in the shower.
Yeah.
And he dips his head down like that. That was very the screwdriver when he's just going like that to the kids. That I just felt Kane there. When and he admits he grabbed from a lot of different Jasons when he was doing that. Like
I love his athleticism in that film, because I was back when I was playing ball, I was bigger, but I was still fast. I kind of like when you're both. And when he jumps off that roof, by the way, that's one shot, and he lands and then turns and puts the arrow through the door and it goes through the cop's eye. By the way, again, from the jump to the land through the half wall, one shot, one take. Yeah. Now, he said when he landed, he kept bending his knees, and the director said, you can't bend your knees because you're messing up the frame. It's like, what? So he said, I had to land straight-legged like 3 or 4 times. He said he really killed his knees for that shot. But his athleticism, like, 6'5", 6'6", 260, running him down. When he runs the black kid down and throws the axe at him.
That's my favorite kill.
Oh, dude. It's like you can't get away. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but yeah, I love what Kane does in this. And like we were mentioning the third act, I mean, some of that stuff he had to do. I don't know anything about production design. I don't know what they made things out of. Like for him to go through the stairs, if it's just a soft wood or
wood.
Yeah, the carving wood, isn't it? It's real soft.
Yeah.
But it's still got to hurt. Like it's still got to have some kind of, you know what I mean? But the roof collapsing, I go, how did he do that? Because he said when that collapsed on me, because the mask was so hard, it protected my face. It went thud, thud, thud down the stairs. Like he folded down those stairs.
Dude, I talk about that all the time. I'm like, was there ropes holding the ceiling, or did they pull you out or something? He goes, no, it just fell on my head. He goes, it hit me to the ground. He goes, and my face bounced off the fucking stairs when I went. They said he had a cut on his head. And I was like, dude, that's crazy. Could have broke your neck. Could have 100 things could have went wrong there.
Yep. And at the time he said, I watched this documentary, or I think I read this actually. no one did 40 seconds on fire, and that's how long he was on
He
fire.
broke the record at that time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
After almost dying from it. You know his burn history, right?
Yeah, but that not on this movie though. That happened
years before. But that's my point. To almost die from it and then still do it for a record one, that's balls, dude.
That would play with your fucking mind right there.
Yeah,
you are gonna wet me down, right? You're gonna hose me down. And after he's burnt and he comes down to the dock, he even looks better.
Yeah. So that's the Roseblood look I was going for, because people are like, oh, he looks different than Seven. I go, I want him from the dock when he's burnt, because that's the final version of him. You know what I'm saying? Because he looked all crispy. I like that version better.
Yeah, I like that. Definitely like that. But yeah, Kane's great. The kills neutered, but you know what? You could still get the gist, I think. Yeah. But if anyone really wants to watch them, check out your Blu-rays and everything. Watch the features. You'll see all this raw footage on there. That's pretty cool. Did you know too that because they filmed in Alabama, they already had guys with guns on the alligators just in case they were coming, because they had an alligator problem or something like that.
They had a wrangler. Terry talked about it last night on the show, and Lar talks about it too. There's a 90-year-old wrangler guy who was supposed to be a crocodile and a snake wrangler because they were everywhere. And she said the guy was like sleeping half the time. He was like 90 years old and like lived down there. He didn't do anything.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. But yeah, that's New Blood, the performances. I like that. Like we were talking about this pacing issue with this movie.
Yes.
Where it's almost like the story's a little too good for a Friday movie, where it's like, okay, I'd get these people out of here. Like, you know what I mean? But there are some little things with the characters. I mean, there's some gorgeous women in this movie. Yeah. I'll give them that. And they tried to do he tried to do a little bit of, with the girls squawking and everything. And the one girl wants to look beautiful, Maddie, and the other girls got the dude smoking weed all the time. But I guess he tried for that Friday 4 kind of characters, but they just didn't work. They didn't work.
My ass. Yeah, Maddie. yeah. The guy gonna write the science fiction book. They were kind of tropey, kind of stupid. You didn't care,
Yeah, he was kind of a almost like it. They wanted to go for a Jim and Ted, but there was no one really like that in this movie. But I got some entertainment out of some of them at certain points in the film. Like, was it Michael? He's coming to his own party. Like, he doesn't think it's a party, but he's like, his car breaks. He's like, piece of shit. He's just like, he had a little bit of funny moments here and there, but yeah, kind of set up for the cannon fodder and all that kind of stuff. But, it's pretty cool, man. This, everything that happened with this movie though, like this movie's kind of like a lot of people are mixed on. But I talked to a lot of people like yourself who just love this movie. And just
the last narration intro ever of the series too, by the way.
Yeah, that actually I almost forgot about that. That intro is probably one of my favorites. I love it.
Now they say that forever it was supposed to be a fact that Crazy Ralph, that actor, was the guy who voiced it. But now in the last year or so, there's been some people that say it's not him, it was somebody else. So, but still interesting.
I was always told that it was him, even in my Crystal Lake book here, that my computer's sitting.
People just say things and repeat them. That's the problem, Just like how 2 years ago, that new guy went around the conventions that he wore in part 3, he did one scene, and nobody ever talked about that. And then it was confirmed. Oh yeah, he's a stuntman. He did this scene. He just started touring like last year.
Yeah, that's right. He
that's 40 years.
He got strangled. He fell down the. Yeah. So I don't know why. I don't know if Richard Brooker was just like out of the, not there that day or what happened. Like I know with Friday Remake, when Derek Mears was not Derek
in the hole. Scene. Yeah.
When he's in the hole. Yeah. Whoever's doing that though is doing a great job because it's pretty vicious. And the music too. This was not technically scored by Manfredini. Am I right about that?
So
there's another composer, Fred Mullen, is it?
Fred Mullen I spoke to before I did Roseblood. By the way, he had footage he was going to send me about 6 months ago. He goes, Peter, I found all footage for all the kills that I was supposed to score. He goes, I think I have all the original kills. And I was like, are you kidding me? And he said, let me go put it in the set and look at it. And he looked, and it's not. Dude, I thought we were going to break the internet. I was so pumped. But I've talked to him. So he was a Fred, whatchamacallit? Oh, my God. Who's the main guy of Part 1 music?
Oh, Manfredini.
Who came on Roseblood. Manfredini started to do the score for VII, but they didn't like it or something. So they went, most of that, 90% is Fred Mullen. So, yeah.
Well, it is different. It's got that big.
I like it.
And then the famous, the iconic, that's very iconic to that movie.
I got 7 up there for all-time score. 5, dude, 5 has a phenomenal score. If you go listen to,
yeah. I'm a big fan of 6.
6 too. 6 too.
I like the whole opening, the 6, that with the score that's going behind there. Very theatrical and everything, but the score here, I don't mind actually. I think it's quite good. It's different. It sets it apart from being different, and you with all that raw footage. Like when I was watching it, man, I like watching raw footage like that. I don't know what they call it. Is it just raw footage? Yeah.
Uncut.
What not being cut, no music, and just the timing of what they're saying is not edited either.
Yeah,
I love seeing that. I
love
seeing that. I mean, when you see that, you're like, man, what editing does to a film, you just have no idea. Like, well, you obviously have an idea, Peter. And me, I doing my YouTube videos. If anyone saw my raw footage, they'd laugh at me because there's nothing close.
Think of like Seinfeld or Friends or Saturday Night Live without an audience laughing. It would be cringe. Some of the jokes would be real cringe. You know what I'm saying? Dude, when we did Roseblood, I did there's tons of scenes we had to save with editing and sound. But overall, Jason Brooks gave me this. He goes, the building needs to be alive because nothing's happening in the film. And there's times where it's not a lot going on. And it's just dialogue about it. So the building needs to be alive. So I was like, so every scene now has an ambiance. Every scene has an air conditioner sound, whether you hear it or not. Every scene has stairs, elevators, beeps of people touching stuff, phones going off. And without that, it was so horrible. But with it in, you don't even notice it. But now you can like focus on the actors and the story because you're not noticing that it looks weird, or seems weird. It's little things like that. Sound is a character in the film.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I always say music is your heartbeat of any film. And I could give you thousands of examples.
Halloween, go watch Halloween without the score. It's terrible.
Right?
Yeah, thing. Well, they're just showing snow and stuff,
It's true, man. Like the music's just everything. Like I say this about Predator, the first Predator. The music's actually driving the pacing. If you could see the raw footage of that where they're just going in the jungle, you'd probably think it was fucking boring. And you know what I mean? It's everything.
That's why it's done last.
I almost forgot the way this movie was shot. There's one scene in here I really like. I'll say it's my favorite moment, at least one of them that I'll ask you, is when Nick and Tina are trapped in the house, and when Kane, after he kills Melissa, how the shaky cam Beekler does here, and how you're like this. You're like, how they get, there's nowhere to go. I don't know how big that house was, but Kane just fills up that room, or it looks like he fills up that room. One or the other. And I love how Jason closes the door and he's kind of cornering them like that. And
he grabs his jacket and rips his jacket. And, when Kevin came on board, he wanted me to do the scene where he gets his jacket ripped. It just doesn't fit in the end of the movie, but he wanted me to do it. Yeah, that's how iconic it was to him.
And my wife was kind of like laughing at me when we were watching this. She came into the room actually while I was watching it, and she goes running up the stairs. She goes, another trope. I go, but Jason did close the door. They had nowhere to go, right? Yeah. There was a reason this time for running up the stairs. But what do you think of that scene though? When he's this trapping them like that, I think it's pretty intense.
Love it because it starts off with her talking shit, Melissa, and then opening the door, and then Jason stepping up one step. I bet you that was Kane's idea. Steps up, looks even bigger, does the breath, axe to the face, throwing over the TV, and like you said, now he's in front of the door. What are you gonna do? Go to the door? So, and then like you're right, they spin the camera. They even spin the camera when he gets his jacket pulled, and then Kevin kind of pauses and looks at him like, "You almost got me," And then they went up the stairs, and Kevin can't get in the room. And dude, it starts off a chain of events that is just legendary. There's been nothing close to that I can remember. The beginning of 2009, not that it was cool stunt wise like that. Those first 15 minutes I thought was really, really good. But as far as like the best 15 minutes of Jason being Jason, it's part 7, the end. It's not even close to me.
Yeah, I like I'm actually a big fan of part 4.
Yeah,
part 4 is ending to me. Part 4 is like, I'm a 6 fan, but part 4 is probably my favorite third act, but it has my favorite final girl too. With Trish, just the way she takes him on, so like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna freaking give you something to remember us by, my girl.
There you go. How about the deleted scene where she wakes up on the couch the morning after?
You know what? I think I said this in my review, that they got rid of her best performance in the movie. That's her best. That's Tina like crying. That was like, wow. And I just wish like it wasn't a dream. Like they really found the mother. Maybe her fucking, maybe Jason squeezed. Yeah. Maybe Jason squeezed her eyeballs out or something. I don't know.
She looked like demonic almost,
Yeah. But it's too bad it's a dream, because I go, man, did Kimberly Beck ever do a great job in that movie? And I talked to her at the convention when I got that. And I said, "Were you ever coming back for any of these?" She said, "They wanted me back for 5, but I was too busy at that time. I was she was lined up with stuff. I think she did TV. I can't remember, but she says, yeah, they did want me back. Like, and I would have liked to come back. I just couldn't with my schedule."
Well, the same with oh my God, Corey Feldman. He's in the beginning only because he had to go do Goonies.
Yeah. I said that. Yeah, I remember that because I did some research when I did part 5 review. But yeah, Peter, anything else? You want to touch on anything else about this movie?
No, I'm with you. I thought that the high points are super high, the low points are low. I agree with you. The pacing of the film was definitely not rising the way you wanted to. There was some low points. Some of the characters were forgettable, but Tina and Nick and Dr. Kaiser or Dr. Cruz and Jason weren't. So you have so many highs and so many lows mixed together. And I think if the kills are in and they're done the way we always wanted them to be, I think this movie ends up in the top 5, in the top 6. But because of it, it's middle to bottom in a lot of people's lists.
I think so too. I think it's hard for me because like I'm always, this depends on the mood I'm in when I watch this movie. It's like, this is one I like taking a break from for quite some time and watching it. Like I've said often, I liked your movie more. Like as far as just being invested in something, you know what I mean? I'd have to watch them back to back and really, but I mean, like I said, I don't put fan films in that. Like I give them a little bit more of a break when I'm reviewing them because I'm like, these guys have no money.
Right.
They have no, this is not a Hollywood backed film. This is not like they're running off, a lot of you're beginners too, right?
Yeah.
Am I not wrong about that? Like some of the stuff's your first. I mean, if I'm making my first film, it's not going to be freaking great. I guarantee you it.
Yeah. That's the first time I wrote, directed, held. I didn't even hold a camera. So yeah, 1,000%. You do that off $50,000. Where these Friday 13th movies, $3 million budget, $20 million budget for 2009. Like, imagine if I had $20 million. I mean, it's just it's for the love,
Yeah, exactly. There's this.
There's my part 7 with everything in it right there with the machete, the VHS, the mask, his figure, all signed in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Now I typically rate my reviews like these movies, Peter. Yep. I do a letter system. You could do your number system, but today I'm giving New Blood a C+. I think it would be a B- if those kills were in there.
Yes.
Usually I give this movie a C, so it's going up just a little bit just because I just really enjoyed it this time. It's just one of those. Friday the 13th is weird, guys. It's like I'll like 3 more than 7. Other times I'll like 7 more than 3. This one will go down. This one will go. They're so comforting, these films, that it's so hard.
Yeah, I agree. I give it a 7. because it's the best look of Jason ever. It's the best makeup of Jason ever. I think it's the most violent version. It's Kane's best performance, and that's the last mask that stayed in touch with all the other ones combined. Now there is an error. At the end of 6, the sheriff shoots him in the head and he gets a hole, and that is not in 7. So there's a couple masks that I help guys make. So there's one now that's out there that's a 7 with the whole mask in it. But it's the last time that they went all the way through with the damage of all the masks into that. So, and especially with Lara passing away now, it's going to be like even more iconic.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I was like, man, she was, she's only 63, I think. My mom was 60 when my mom passed away. So I was like, holy, that's
March 27, 28 in that film.
Yeah, like I thought she's playing what, 17?
Yeah,
because she said her husband said, take this movie. I know, because he read the script and went, this is a Jason movie. You have to do this. This is a fucking Friday movie.
Yeah.
That's what she said in this commentary, right? Like I was watching. Oh, and she said, oh, it's a Friday movie? And she was a big horror fan. So
yeah. And Kevin Spiritus was coming off The Hills Have Eyes 2, where Kane did stunts. Kevin Spiritus said he walked in the studio and Kane was walking out. He's like, what are you doing here? So it's kind of cool how that all played out.
Yeah, they all work they all have history together, like in the movie business. Like they'll work on one thing and then go to the next. Some of them work with each other a lot, I imagine. You know what I mean? It just depends on the crew. Yeah. And I know a lot of directors, I would imagine, I know Mike Flanagan, he takes the same crew with him to every single project.
Rob Zombie.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
the girl
awesome.
From part 3, I forgot her name. The girl gets shot with the arrow through the eye, with Shelley.
Yep.
That girl, she was Miss California. She's the girl that Terry Kaiser sleeps with when he's dead in Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She goes upstairs and sleeps with him and comes down and goes, that was the best ever. And the two guys look at each other. What's going on? Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. But always fun talking Friday the 13th with you, Peter.
Thanks, man.
One of my favorite franchises. I could go on all day about these movies, man. I just love them to death. So please, everyone, like, subscribe, all that if you like this kind of content. And I will be doing Jason Takes Manhattan next Friday, or whenever I can get it out. I'm trying to do these every Friday. So I appreciate you all coming out. Leave a comment in the comment section of what you guys think of this movie. Love to hear your thoughts and all that jazz. We could talk Friday the 13th. And this is Backtrack Cinema. My name is Jason. I'll see you next time, and I'll see you in the movies, guys.